Hello, this is Warren Haynes of Gov't Mule with Guitare Xtreme.
Chers amis, bonjour et bienvenue pour ce nouveau numéro de la Guitare Xtreme School. Je suis extrêmement heureux parce qu'aujourd'hui je suis assis à côté d'une légende, la personne de Warren Haynes. Je suis vraiment super heureux de l'avoir aujourd'hui dans le magazine. C'est évidemment le guitariste Allman Brothers, de Gov't Mule. Bref, si jamais vous ne connaissez pas, jetez-vous dessus, c'est juste une tuerie totale. Could you just tell us how do you begin guitar, what age, and how did you begin guitar? And after, I've just finished the question. And after, could you just show us a few licks or a few things very important to work when you start to play guitar?
I started playing guitar, I guess I was 11 when my oldest brother had an acoustic guitar. And I got my first electric guitar for my 12th birthday. And, just like everyone else starting out playing, or trying to play Smoke on the Water or Louie Louie, something in the beginning that seemed to be simple, There's a lot to be played all in the same kind of position or playing the same kind of scale or mode. So if you play that's all the same sort of position and blues scale. But one thing it's important to remember is that music is not about how complex something is. It's about how it sounds and how it makes you feel when you hear it. So a lot of the best guitar players are guitar players that can sing through their instrument, that can make their instrument sound like a great singer. So with the sound is very important. The vibrato is very important. And the choice of notes is very important. But also the space, where you take a space. A great singer has to take a breath, and therefore the breath is part of the music. So when a guitar player plays, if they don't take a breath, it sounds less dramatic than if you take a breath in the right place. So I'll try and play something all in this same blues scale and keep it really simple, but demonstrate all of those things. So now that's very basic blues scale type stuff, but it sounds like someone singing. It sounds like a melody that someone would sing. And sometimes when you hear someone playing too many notes or playing too fast or playing with not enough punctuation, it starts to lose that singing quality or the sense of melody that you get from hearing someone sing through their instrument. So it's very important that your guitar sound as much like the human voice as possible.
Could you just, it's a question, I think you've heard this question thousand and thousand times. Could you just tell us your influence and perhaps talk about your influence when you begin, when you start playing guitar, and do you listen to the same kind of music and the same kind of guitarist and musician now and when you begin? What's the evolution, etc.?
When I first started playing, my first three heroes were Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and Johnny Winter. And after that, I discovered Duane Allman and Dickie Betts with the Allman Brothers. And eventually I learned something from every great guitar player from late 60s, early 70s, mostly in the blues rock kind of world in the beginning. And then I started listening to the people that those people listened to, like B.B. King and Freddie King and Albert King and Buddy Guy and Otis Rush and Elmore James. And then at some point I started hearing a lot of jazz and listening to Wes Montgomery and Django Reinhardt and even more fusion stuff like John McLaughlin and Alan Holdsworth. And I always loved people like Steve Howe from Yes, who had such a unique style. So at some point you start emulating all the people that you like, and then you reach a point where you start trying to forget about all that and try to sound like yourself. So it's important to listen to as many types of music as possible, try and find the best in each one, and eventually, if you listen to enough music and you practice enough and you play enough, your own voice will start to come through. And it's very important at some point to stop emulating and just put yourself out there and start seeing what happens when you aren't thinking of another guitarist when you play. So it's important also to, in my opinion, to mix it up, to mix jazz with blues, mix rock with country, mix all the elements together. So even in the context of, say, so what I was doing there, when I was playing chords, it kind of indicates a good time for the lead to take a breath and let the rest of the music take over. So it was an indication of what I'm hearing in my head, meaning when I switch to the chords, it would be a good time for the lead to lay out. And also trying to indicate what can be played across the one chord, which in this case is the C, the 4 chord, which in this case is F, and the 5 chord, which in this case is G. Traditionally, you can play a blues scale across any of those chords, but it's a nice melodic variation when you treat each one of them a little differently and maybe even switch from one to the other according to the chord changes. So across the one chord, you may play, and then across the 4 chord, you go back to the 1 chord again, back to the 4 chord again, back to the 1. On the 5 chord, treat it a little bit different. Down to the 4 again. And then the 1. So they're all similar, they're all based inside the blues scale, but they kind of sound like if someone was singing across those chords, the differences in the melodies and the inflections. So it gives you a little indication of when to use the vibrato. I'm attacking some notes harder than other notes. You don't ever want to play the same intensity all the time because that's not the way a singer would sing. There's loud notes, there's soft notes, there's in between, and eventually you'll be able to discover how to play in different positions to achieve the same note that sounds different. So as an example, if you play the key of G, if you play this note, that's a G on the E string. If you play the same note on the B string, it's the same note, but it's a little bit fatter. You play it on the G string, it's fatter still. You play it on the D string, it's fatter still. So if you go, they're all a little bit different. So if you're playing in the key of G and you hit this note and it seems a little too bright to you, you might want to go up to that version or that version or that version. And also, depending on where you're playing on the neck, it might be convenience that makes you decide that, but at the same time, you have to listen to what you're hearing and choose accordingly. And again, as I said about the attack, it's all like someone shouting or whispering or in between. Three times playing the same expression with a different sound, with a different intensity.
For the advanced part,
Okay.
high level. And before, could you just talk about your guitar and your gear?
Sure. This is my signature model Les Paul. It's based on a combination of a 1958 and a 1959 Les Paul. Burstbucker 1 in the bass position, Burstbucker 2 in the treble position, Tone Pros bridge, and the most important feature, which is this circuitry that is a buffer preamp, which when engaged, it allows the volume control to be set anywhere I want it to be set without the tone changing. The people that have played Gibson guitars before realize that when you turn the guitar down, the sound becomes duller, and with this circuitry, you have the option, if the switch is down, of it being like a stock Gibson, or if it's up, it has this circuitry engaged, which makes the tone not change, which gives you a lot of options for tonal variations. It doesn't work as well at a really low volume, but when you're playing loud, the tonal variations are much more obvious. This guitar suits me for the most part. It's probably the guitar that I play the most. It's designed in a way that when I'm playing a Les Paul on stage, it has as much flexibility and diversity as possible, but it also gives me the traditional Les Paul sound that I love. I think it's important not to play complete licks it's more important to play one note at a time and to kind of vary things. So you don't want to play like point A to point B where you play exactly a certain thing every time you play that lick. You want to kind of learn from all of it and just piece the notes together. So I don't know, as an example, if I play a rock and roll lick, I play a blues, a more jazzy lick, or a country lick. You can blend all that together. So that's kind of blending a lot of styles into one short period of time. The new Gov't Mule record is called Shout, and the title is a way of paying tribute to great rock and roll singers or great singers in a rock and roll environment. We originally thought we were finished with the CD before we came up with the concept of the bonus CD. And once we came up with the concept, everything changed, and we decided to delay the release and take this concept as far as we could take it. The concept being that we would have disc 1 as all Gov't Mule music, and then disc 2 would be alternate versions of the same songs, but with a different great lead vocalist on each song, with a different guest singer on each song. And it was really great to hear all these different singers, a lot of my favorite singers singing our music. And it helps, I think, it was really good to offer people two different versions of the songs being interpreted two different ways. Basically, I made a list of, with each song, what singer other than myself I would love to hear sing the song. The guest vocalists include Ben Harper, Glenn Hughes, Grace Potter, Jim James from My Morning Jacket, Dr. John, Toots Hibbert from Toots and the Maytals, Dave Matthews, Miles Kennedy, Steve Winwood, Elvis Costello, and Ty Taylor from the band Vintage Trouble. So what I wanted to do was have a balance of singers that influenced me and in some cases influenced the songs, and also current singers that that I enjoy. So it's about half and half of singers that are older than me and singers that are younger than me. And in each case, we took a lot of time and energy to choose the right singer for the right song. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of with the bonus disc is that each singer sounds like they were meant to sing that particular song. I would have been very proud of Shout if it didn't have the bonus disc, but the fact that it has this unique concept, I think makes it stand out even more. It may be, even without the bonus disc, it may be the best release that we've ever had, but I think in light of the 2 CD concept, people are gonna hopefully dig it a lot. So this is Warren from Gov't Mule saying bye-bye, and thanks for checking it out. I hope that the licks that I showed you will help you as a guitar player.